got done here is, while we were gone, while you were gone, Greg and I got the rest of this tack together, and he went through and welded all the inside welds through all these web spaces, all the way through, top and bottom. So everything on the inside is all taken care of. The tubes are tacked in so they're not going to rattle. Everything's been checked and double checked to make sure we got enough weld beads on all of these that nothing's going to come apart on the inside. We got it flipped over in the process of doing all that. We've got our center cross braces all welded in. We've got our center cross brace support and our web support for these to all come together. This piece is going to need a little bit of fitting most likely because it's got to fit between the bends here, and when you're bending material like that, sometimes it varies a little bit and you just need to tweak it, grind the little edge off a little bit, make it fit down here. It fits at a 45-degree angle. It runs along the top edge here. It touches the bottom inside here, bottom here, and the back side of this piece of brace. Once all that's all welded together, you got 7 gauge here, 7 gauge here. This corner's not going anywhere. This is the guts of the whole chassis. This is what holds everything straight and square. So there's a lot of beef here. So make sure you get it carefully placed and fully welded with good penetration on all your welds on all this. After all that's done, then you're ready to start capping it off. Before you cap it off, go back and look one more time to make sure all your cross braces, all your whip braces and stuff in here, everything inside has got weld on it, it's sufficiently done, it's adequately. Greg even decided he wanted to put some material in here. I don't know, what'd you paint on that, Greg?
I just used zero rust.
Just to hit all the welds to keep it from trying to rust through from the inside.
You know, I'll open it up. I use this product quite a lot. Pretty good stuff. Anything you can do to seal that up, keep the rust from starting, the better off you are.
Okay, the next step in the process after you have all that stuff on the inside double checked and triple checked and cleaned up, and you're happy with what's on the inside, is you start putting the top and bottom caps on. So far I've found that starting upside down and putting the bottom on first gives you a chance to fiddle with the easy part, the easy curves, and then you get down to the fun stuff at the front end. You'll have it understood of what you're doing, how to do it, how it lines up, how it works out. I got a back piece. It's got some niches in it. You see that all right? Let me know when you got it. Okay. That's to help you line it up. The short one you can bend down, and that'll help you line it up. The short one will hold it against the inside. Everything lines up perfectly, and you just tack it in and weld it on. That'll be the back piece. We're going to hold off on putting this one on first. I was going to do that, but I think we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to start with this arch right here so we can get it right. So I'm going to let this hang out a little bit because I know this comes over just short of this little nib right here. So I'm going to let it hang back, give me some extra room. First 2 or 3 you're doing this, you're going to figure out how you're doing it, what you're doing right and wrong, but you can always trim this off, and that's what I got for you, enough to trim these off. All you got to do is just kind of a little bit of tweaking, just gently maneuver it, manipulate it a little bit. I recommend gloves. This is laser cut and these edges can be sharp. Just keep pressing a little bit. You'll feel it move in your hands. Just don't get any kinks in it. Try to keep it smooth. Spread the pressure out. And we're getting close. That's better. Now that I'm this close, what I'm going to start doing is tacking it in. Now I've got a block here, just a chunk of wood, cut a radius on it. This is a 6-inch radius. I forgot it's a 12-inch radius on all this stuff. So I'm going to have a 12-inch radius block on all my kits. To help you just put it on there, give it a tweak. You'll have your 12-inch radius on it, be really close to get you started. This little block will be handy as a dickens when we're getting into this. I'm going to miss the right radius. power here. Turn me off. All right. Once you get your radiuses starting to look good, the inside surfaces need to match. So you've got room to put a fill weld on the outside. You see that pretty good like I got it? You do not want the top surface of your cap flush with the top edge of your side plate. You want the bottom surface of it, the inside surface's borders to match. And as you start doing this, you'll see why and how it works. Jeff, could you hook up my ground phone, please? Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
My lovely assistant. I must have loaded this morning, didn't I? Greg, your welder's faulty. Once you get a good decent bead on this, tack it like that. Now you can just manipulate it to the edge. Just keep working your way down. A little more pressure, a little more pressure. There we go. Just basically stitch it on. Then as you get ready to go the other way, start going the other way. Most people would do this with a welding helmet on, but to me it gets in the way. And then when you get down to the bottom of it, you need a little persuasion. A little tapping maybe. Get it where you want it. And just keep stitching it down. Now you see how this flops pretty good? That's just one piece. There's nothing that's passing you all the way down to here. So you can manipulate it every way from Sunday. That's why you want to make sure you're getting this straight, getting things lined up, and it comes right back in where it needs to be. And I'm off a fuzz, but not by much. But at this point in time, if you're off just a little bit on this, you're not going to hurt anything. The biggest part is getting your suspension stuff straight and square up in the front for all your geometry being accurate and being within an eighth of an inch to a quarter of an inch on the rest of it. Everything else adjusts in really easy. But like Greg said, this stuff is cut with a laser. It's cut within thousandths of an inch of what the tolerances are supposed to be. I think the tolerances are someplace between 15 and 40 thousandths. You're going to be really, really close on everything. You're never going to measure it and be off far enough to see it. So don't be concerned about getting it absolutely perfect. It's a weldment. You got room to maneuver. There's plenty of room in this system to take up any deficiencies in either the parts not fitting the way you want it to, something's not slightly where you wanted it. Like these aren't going to be aligned a whole lot anything except for the edges. If it's off a little bit, get to a point, stop, cut it, start again. From here, all the way up to the front here, It's all locked in flat and straight. So you're not going to be off far enough to make a whole problem out of it. That's the biggest thing that everybody's talking about, is they're concerned about accuracy. Oh, you cannot build a frame or a chassis without a frame table or a bunch of jigs and fixtures. It's got to be perfect, it's got to be straight, it's got to be square. It can all be done just like this. You can do it on sawhorses. We had this table available to us, it's on wheels, made it really handy. But you can do this on sawhorses. As long as you keep tracking it, keep looking at it, when you start welding your cross braces in, you're checking it for straight, one side or the other, making sure we count it all across, lining everything up, tacking it all together, and just keep meticulously going through, tacking things together, coming back weld where you got to, keep the welds very small, and it won't warp. It'll stay flat, it'll stay straight, and this chassis will go down the road as straight as you put the suspension on it. That's where the key's going to be at. After that, it's just going back and welding. It's just that easy. It goes down, manipulate a little bit, fuss with it some here and there, get it where you like the look of it, and tack it on. And go all the way down both sides. Tack it all on first. Do not weld any of this down fully until you have it all tacked on. At least one side. Because this is where you're going to make things get warped. You start welding down across here 12, 14, 18 inches, 2 foot at a time, this thing's going to twist like a pretzel. You got to keep these welds to about 3 to 4 inches long and spaced out between 10 to 12 to 14 inches apart. You need to go around it 3 or 4 times to do the whole side before you're done. If you do that, nothing's going to move. Everything's going to stay straight, and you're going to have a nice, solid, flat frame for that beautiful truck you want to build on it.
So we got the bottom caps tack welded on. This is actually the left frame rail, because it's upside down right now. When it flips over, it'll be the left. We got that all tacked on completely up front. As you can see, the right side frame rail is actually still open yet. All the webbing's there and whatnot. Very, very easy to do, really. It's not that complicated. If you have a little bit of metal skills and welding skills, you're able to put this thing together. It's made for the do-it-yourselfer, as we mentioned before. But the whole way up through here now, as I mentioned earlier, we're using a flat-out engineering suspension kit for our Corvette suspension. So we have that in place. But even down in here where the steering rack goes, we molded our metal to fit in there very easily. Got that all tack welded in. Now we're going to go to the right side frame rail, and we're going to repeat the same process again. So we've got our front suspension in. It went in so quick and easy. This is from Flat Out Engineering, this cross member, as I mentioned earlier. And you're going to hear me repeat it over and over again. These guys are great. The products are awesome. We got our approximate ride height set. Waiting on our coil springs, or coilovers, to get here to finalize it. But what we have, initially, most hot rods are have a 2 to 3 degree rake that slope down in the front end. So we went ahead. That's what we did for now. Got an angle finder set up here, and we sloped it up just a hair. Now we've got our rear end in. It's still loose. We don't have everything lined up yet. But the great thing about this is, when Brian Pratt, and when he designed these chassis skids, he put registration marks at the arch of the top of these frames where the center of the axle will be. He did it for the front and the back. Now our setup's a little different, as I said, because we're using Flat Out Engineering suspension kits for our Corvette, the C4 Corvette suspension, front and rear. We put the cross beam in here, and we just have everything pretty much set loose in here. We have to get the rear end centered up yet. 116-inch wheelbase is the wheelbase on these Chevy trucks. The short bed, short box, the 3100s. So we have tram gauges, so we're going to use tram gauges just for the ease of it, but you can use a tape measure. 2 guys on a tape measure will work just fine. Now, in order to make sure everything is square, we set our toe on our front tires. We have approximately an 1/8 inch toe in on the front end of that. So when we go to get our wheelbase width, we're going to use the center of the axles, the spindles on both front and rear. There's a depression. We're just going to put the tips of our trim gauge right into them, get our axle set. We'll know we have the perfect wheelbase. Along with that, our pinion. They want to see a 2 to 4 degree upward swing in the pinion. So right now we're setting at 0. We just have to shim that up, tilt it up just a hair. So we have that slight upward roll with our drive shaft when it goes to our transmission. You don't want a negative angle. You always want a little bit of a positive. When the weight's on it, it's going to zero out pretty good, and your U-joints will last a lot longer that way. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to get this set. Then we're going to set our front one for our shock mounts and for our axle mount that goes over the top here as well. We'll get back to you shortly. So we got our Aldan American coilovers, and they were so easy to set in there along with the flat out engineering kit that we have. Basically, this mounting plate for the OEM shock mount, 3 bolts hold that on there, and this is actually the stabilizer bar. As you can see down here, the flat out engineering bracket goes in there in place of the original plate, and of course the bolt and 2 spacers on each side of that Aldan American coilover. And then this upper bracket sits in here on top of the cross member, and right now we just have it tack welded in there to get our position, and obviously the shock bolt that goes through that then as well. So we have both sides on here. So quick and easy, and they look awesome. If you haven't checked out Aldan American coilover shocks for racing, you know, street rods, whatever, go check them out. Incredible products. So we finally got it on the ground. We have everything tacked in place. Our cross members for our rear end, we have the correct pinion angle. We have our Aldan American coilover shocks in place. Everything's ready to roll. We just got a final weld, get everything final ground, finish getting this chassis smoothed up, and it's going to paint before too long. But as I said, you can't go wrong with these flat out engineering setups. If you're going to use even a Mustang 2 front end or whatever, you know, the C4, C5 suspensions in it, look them up. I mean, as far as that goes, Aldan American, you know, they're great products. They fit perfect with the flat out engineering setup. So check them out.